Today, I will be teaching a strategy that will help you think about the plot of your story. The plot is a series of events that make up the story. Your story looks like this. We start with uh-oh. That's when the problem and main characters are introduced. That is part of your lead. Then we have the uh-oh. That's when the characters are working on solving the problem. That's called the rising action. After the rising action, you have the high point of your story, and that is called the climax. It's sometimes going to be the most interesting part of your story. After the climax, you're going to think about is phew. That's called the falling action, because that's when the problem is getting solved. At the end of the story, you're going to have the ending or your resolution. That is when you're going to conclude with your theme. What is the reader going to learn from your story? So now let's look at the movie Nemo, and let's connect the plot to the diagram we just looked at. So let's look at the beginning of our diagram. So we have Marlin loses his wife and many eggs to a shark. Marlin found one egg and named it Nemo. Marlin raised Nemo alone in the ocean. So at the beginning of our diagram, we have the lead. This is going to introduce our characters, Marlin, Nemo. We also know where this takes place. It takes place in the ocean. And it also creates the problem because Marlin lost his wife. He has only one egg left, which is Nemo. Now we have the uh-oh. That's when Nemo is tired of living in the safe parts of the ocean, so he swims deeper into the ocean and gets caught by the fishermen. So this is your rising action. This is when your problem's getting worse. After that, we have the climax. Now, the climax we know is your turning point or the most interesting part of your story because this is when Marlin finds Nemo, but this is after he meets Dory. And we know with Dory, they have a lot of adventures and they become friends. And during this time, we also have a small problem during the climax, and that's when Dory gets caught in a fishing net. But with all these things, we have a few, because after this, Marlin learns to trust Nemo, knowing that he's growing up and knows right from wrong. So that's when you notice that the characters are trying to solve their problem. Then at the end of the story, or end of the movie, we have Nemo, Dory, and Marlin. They return home together. And Nemo earns Marlin's trust, and Dory and Marlin become great friends. And that's when we have the theme of trust and friendship. So after thinking about the plot diagram and thinking about the story of Nemo, I hope you're able to think of your plot of your story, and you're going to be able to create a great story that has all these parts in your story. So make sure you have an introduction, a rising action, a climax, a falling action, and your resolution. And make sure you have a theme within your resolution. What am I going to learn about your characters, or what am I going to take from your story?